Can comedy be a form of therapy?
He's like, oh, good night. He's not like, oh, death. Like, he has none of that.
There's certainly therapeutic benefits to laughter, but can comedy help navigate the disorders in our lives?
How quickly you move to devaluation.
Comedy can invite us to confront the terrifying vastness of existence while still managing to keep us laughing.
T has been with the SVU, about 11 years now.
There's something subversive, even rebellious, about finding humor in life's harsh realities.
I did not know that.
This dual function, the dance between philosophy and laughter, is what gives comedy its rare power to address profound aspects of human life.
I want my doctor to have had other dreams about being something else.
Existential dread, loneliness, and the search for meaning, while remaining remarkably accessible. This is both for the comedian and the audience. Let's start with what comedy offers the audience, particularly when it grapples with philosophical or existential themes.
Miss America!
Imagine sitting in a dark room, shoulder to shoulder with a stranger, hearing a comedian throw out a joke that cuts right to the bone. The laughs that ripple across the room aren't just laughs, they're shared moments of catharsis. Comedy allows us to confront what existentialists call the absurd, the strange, unsettling disconnect between our search for meaning and a universe that offers none. Instead of feeling threatened by this void, comedy invites us to laugh at it, shifting our perspective.
Gonna use it on drugs or alcohol. And then I thought, that's what I'm gonna use it on.
Understood this way, it's an offshoot of existential therapy, a type of psychotherapy that helps people understand their place in the world and how they can create meaning in their lives. It's based on the idea that life is full of questions and uncertainties, such as the meaning of life, and that people have the freedom to choose how to live their lives. Comedy that grapples with existential themes serves as an emotional release. Laughter isn't merely a reaction, it's catharsis, a way to vent pent-up fears and anxieties about our own mortality, the meaning of life, and unanswerable questions.
The first thing I found was that hand mirror. I missed my mom.
This release can be transformative. It can play a role in cognitive reframing by seeing one's own worries reflected humorously. The audience might begin to view their existential dilemma from a different perspective. A comedian might joke about death, not trivialize it, but remind us that everyone, at some point, contemplates the end. This humor doesn't provide answers, but it nudges us towards accepting uncertainties. It reminds us of these universal aspects of life that we all face as humans. Comedy has this unique ability to soften the blows of life's toughest truths, framing them in a way that makes us more comfortable with ambiguity and unpredictability. It's a way of connecting, of knowing that others too grapple with these universal questions.
Minutes out of every 24-hour cycle where our brain tells us to...
Now, what about for the comedian themselves? For the comic, the stage is a space for self-exploration and artistic catharsis. Many comedians draw heavily from their own experiences, often painful ones, finding a way to process and even transcend them through their humor. Consider the comedian who jokes about their childhood traumas or their latest heartbreaks. They're not just telling jokes, they're transforming personal pains into something shareable, digestible, and even beautiful. This process of turning personal experiences into performance allows comedians to explore vulnerable parts of themselves in a controlled and creative way. Through their act, comedians not only process their own fears, but also take control of them. The act of standing on a stage, making people laugh about something terrifying, whether it's death, isolation, or failure, offers a sense of mastery over those fears. Turning fears into jokes, they disarm them, reducing their powers. Ultimately, this isn't just therapeutic for the comedian, it's also therapeutic for the audience. When we also laugh at that terrifying thing, we take a small step, a meaningful step, towards reducing its grip on us. Recent postmodern existentialists tell us that life's inherent meaninglessness can be terrifying but also liberating. In the comedic realm, humor is a gesture of defiance. It's as though the comedian says, life has no meaning, then I am free to create my own. This is where comedy aligns with existential thoughts. It creates personal meaning in a world that offers none. When a comedian jokes about existential themes, they take a stand against the meaninglessness, laughing in the face of despair. It's a kind of rebellion against nihilism, an assertion that even in the chaotic universe, resilience and joy are possible.
Yes. Fucking tell me then!
There's also a group therapy aspect to it. Comedians thrive on connection, both with their audience and other comedians. The laughter and applause from an audience serves as validation, a signal that their vulnerability resonates with others. Among peers, comedians often find a supportive community where they can work out their ideas, refine materials, and find camaraderie in their shared struggle of making art out of chaos. Comedy is one of the few art forms that openly discuss existential fears without alienating the audience by humorously addressing the inevitability of death, unpredictability of life, and the limitations of human agency. Comedians normalize these themes and make them more approachable.
I want you to know that if I wasn't your grandmother, I wouldn't know who you are.
It's one thing to feel dread about the end of life. It's another thing to laugh about it. Through humor, we're able to take a stance, reclaiming our autonomy over what scares us the most. Again, for the audience, in the group therapy setting, it's not just about passive entertainment. It's a chance for self-reflection, an opportunity to see ourselves and our worries in the comedian in a new light. Discussing these performances with others can deepen the experience and allow the audience to explore their own perspective and even find new insights for themselves.
Oh yeah, and I just started going blam, 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 blam.
Everyone, including the audience, should take a role in trying to take the comedian's role. Comedic writing can serve as a form of journaling, a way to process life's challenges through a creative lens. Comedy can be an existential inquiry, a way to grapple with life's biggest questions through creativity and connection.
Coming full circle, I knew then it was time to die.